Alex Pereira faces arguably his toughest test to date as he takes on Magomed Ankalaev. We also see the return of Rafael Fiziev as he takes on the former BMF champion Justin Gaethje. It's UFC 313 preview and it's coming up next on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast, champion of the world. And speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world. That is, of course,
yes,
another guy.
Undisputed. Say it though.
What's happening, BG?
Happy to be here. Happy to see you. Happy to be doing another massive fight card. Super excited for this one.
Absolutely, bro. And also with us today, ladies and gentlemen, it's the CPS FWF BMF champion of the world. He's back and he's bloodthirsty, ladies and gentlemen. It's Nazim Al Nino, aka Babu.
Abu.
Yes, sir. Happy to be back here with the boys.
Yo.
What's
This is
happening,
ours.
Babu? So, Babu, rumor has it you'll be fighting for the daddest man of the planet soon. Is that
Yeah,
you
buddy,
can
we
tell
did.
us
We
there?
did.
Congratulations. Shout out,
Appreciate
it.
shout out.
Exciting
But
times.
yeah, let us get down to business, boys. And as always, we start
At the top
At
of
the
the
top of the
card.
card.
at the top of the card. We see Alex Pereira defending his title in the light heavyweight division against Magomed Ankalaev. Alex Pereira is 12-2-0, 10 wins by KO on a 5-fight streak. Last time out beating Khalil Roundtree by KO. Coming up against Magomed Ankalaev, who is 21-1, 11 wins by KO. Last time beating Rakic by unanimous decision. So some saying this arguably is the toughest test for Pereira to date. BG, give us your thoughts on this one, bro.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. This is a matchup that I'm really most anticipating for on this fight card. Yes, we got Fiziev and Gaethje, and obviously that's also going to be a barn burner of a fight. But this particular one is going to be interesting just because I think Magomed Ankalaev matches up to Pereira in terms of height, strength, maybe not the same kind of striking prowess, maybe not on the same pedigree as Alex Pereira when it comes to that side of the things, but still a very good striker, very closely matched to him. And I think because we've seen Magomed Ankalaev wrestle and wrestle really well in this division, we kind of going off on that and being like, okay, this could be the big test for Pereira. Something I did notice in the embedded episodes that's been released so far, something that I noticed, and it didn't leave me with a lot of confidence for Pereira, is that he's been looking like he's been struggling with his weight cut. But what's new, right? That's been something he's been struggling with since he's been in the UFC's weight cuts. I saw a headline the other day, was it yesterday, with Chael Sonnen on his page saying that Pereira is probably going to be cutting 22.5 pounds with like a week and a half to go of the fight. I don't know how much of that is true. I don't know. I didn't watch the video to find out more context to it, but that is the headline. And if that is the case, that's leaving worrisome signs on my part. However, Pereira still has the kiss of death. He still has probably the best kickboxing we've seen in in UFC. And knocking people out left, right, and center. And it just takes one of those left hooks. And we've seen Pereira go past the third round and look really good. And we've seen him get into that flow state and let his hands go. We know that one thing that Magomed Ankalaev has issues with in the past is the leg kicks or the calf kicks. And we know Pereira is one of his best weapons is the calf kicks or other calf kicks. Is he going to be using that to sort of navigate his way to winning this fight? Is Magomed Ankalaev going to use more wrestling? I know that he said that he wants to stand and bang with Pereira and knock him out. Pereira said, okay, if you are that comfortable in doing that, then put your money where your mouth is. I like that Pereira does this in every fight that he goes into where he's like, he's his opponent. Then come and box with me if you want to box. There's 200K, let's go. And now the ball is in Magomed's court, which is a fantastic thing to have done because now he's basically beating Magomed Ankalaev in the mind games, in my opinion. So in terms of the fight, stylistically, I think Magomed Ankalaev has got the exact style to beat Pereira. Everyone in the past has tried to knock him out and has failed miserably in doing so. No one has tried to wrestle him. The one fighter that did try and wrestle him was Jan Blachowicz. And correct me if I'm wrong, he still lost that fight, Blachowicz, but he really did put Pereira into deep waters. made him wrestle a lot in that fight. And I think that is a key to beating him. Yes, you want to go out there and stop the guy and beat him by a standing. Because wouldn't that be amazing on any fighter's resume to beat Alex Pereira in a kickboxing or to beat him in MMA by knocking him out? Wouldn't that just make you look like the best athlete? Considering, wow, the UFC and the world of MMA has been putting Pereira on the pedestal as the best athlete in the organization right now. I still put very question marks on that one. So I think my bones is telling me that Magomed Ankalaev is going to win the fight, even though I want Pereira to win deep down in my heart. I want Pereira to win him in good fashion because I want Pereira to be in his prime state when he fights Dricus du Plessis. But I think Magomed Ankalaev is going to beat him this time. And I'm not going to go into too much X's and O's. I want to save that for the parlay episode. But stylistically, I think Magomed Ankalaev has got everything in this toolbox to actually beat Alex Pereira. Whether it's a knockout, whether it's submitting him or going through 5-round decisions, I think he can do that.
That does seem to be the narrative coming into this one, PG. But Babu, any difference of opinion here, or are you kind of in the same boat?
I think I disagree with PG in terms of the way Ankalaev can get the job done because he has no submission victories. And every time Ankalaev has been in there with a top striker, he's grinded out a decision victory. So I do think Ankalaev can get the decision victory, but unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna knock out Pereira or submit him because at the end of the day, Pereira still does have Glover Teixeira in his corner, and Glover is like a solid person to have in your corner, especially for submission grappling and how to defend and how lightweights would tend to attack you. And I just think, like from Alex's perspective, like that kiss of death with that hook of his and that calf kick is gonna be money, and I think he's just gonna be a bit quicker for Ankalaev. I don't think Ankalaev's gonna be able to really deal with him like on the feet. I think Ankalaev has to take Alex into deep water, like BG said, and try to grind out a decision victory. And I just don't believe. I don't see a submission, but I think if Ankalaev's going to get the job done, it's going to be like by a decision, and he's just going to grind out 5 rounds of straight, like trying to chain wrestle, hold, try to clinch, and not have that space and distance, and give Pereira the time that he needs.
Yeah, that would be, I think, the most clear path to victory for him would just be to blanket Pereira and try and win rounds. So yeah, I do tend to agree there, Babu. I will add from my side though is that I do think he has the potential to get a TKO ground and pound victory. So yeah, I'm also in the Ankalaev boat. But that point that you made, BG, about the leg kicks does concern me. In terms of the Ankalaev, because Alex got the best leg kick in the game, Brian. He only needs to land 3. Only 3, bro, and your leg is compromised. We've seen this so many times in the past, and Ankalaev is heavy on his lead leg. So he's gonna have to wrestle. There's just no other way about it for me. He's talking about he's gonna strike, but don't let the mind games get to you, bro. Just go out there and do the job. Again, we're talking about fighters who can go out there, win rounds, do the job they need to do, and fight the fight they need to fight. Not the fight that the fans want to see, but the fight that you need to fight to win the title, bro. This is a title fight, bro. The only thing that matters is the result. Don't worry about the performance. You know what I mean?
Facts, bro.
BG.
Yeah, I would also add something that I find quite significant in the fights. If you look at Alex Pereira coming into the light heavyweight division, everyone that he's fought, he's been bigger than them, right? Lang Blachowicz matched him up in height, but didn't match him up really in the size, and he still looks significantly bigger than Blachowicz. When he fought Jiri Prochazka is also 6'4", like Ankalaev, but for some reason looked significantly smaller than Pereira when they fought those 2 times. Magomed Ankalaev's height record on the website says 6'3", but if you watch him fight, dude, the man is massive. He towered over Blachowicz as well. So I think this is going to be the first time in Pereira's MMA career he's going to be matched up against someone that is equal to him in size, stamina, length, pretty much the same all around. And we have to remember, even though he doesn't wrestle that much, Magomed, he is still from Russia. He still has the pedigree of wrestling, and he still can do it if he wants to. I really think these keys to victory is going to be to not necessarily train wrestle, but to keep Pereira's back against the cage, make him fight from that distance only, fight clinch, do the handwork like you see on screen right now. Keep Pereira on the opposite side of that
outside.
line. Outside, yes, that line that goes in the octagon like that from the cage. Keep him on
Mm.
that side of the line, back against the cage. Gives him a best chance. And that means he's going to have to clinch a lot, maybe clinch for 2 minutes, throw some elbows, and just irritate Pereira, make him use energy to work for hand fighting, and get the heads off, make him exhaust him by doing that rather than making him tired by boxing. Because he's not going to get tired by boxing. He's not going to get tired kickboxing you either. Pereira will fight you for 20 rounds like that if he has to. But if you make him use his hands and feet to wrestle and to fight clinch work and to fight head movement and wrist control, you'll tire him out. You'll make him have to get exhausted that way. And I think Ankalaev has got that exact tool to do that. And that's how you'll probably win the fight.
Fair play, BG. Babu will go to any final thoughts on this one from you, and then we'll keep it moving.
Just as BG was talking now, I was trying to like picture how Ankalaev would try to back him up. But yeah, I just think that lead kicks is going to be a hell of a thing to deal with unless Ankalaev can read that timing, which nobody has on that lead kick. Unless he can read that timing very quickly and then keep his leg out of the way. I think like that's like key to victory. Like just like BG said, keep him on the outside, keep backing him up, keep backing him up. But yeah, it's gonna be a tall task.
And
Yeah,
Pereira only really goes for Pereira only really pushes forward once he sees that you can't stand on that leg. So we know his pattern of offense. He does it in all his fights. So he doesn't really chase you down until he notices that you can't really stand or you can't go forward anymore. Then he starts going forward. But for the most part, he's counter striking you or he's chewing up your leg to the point where he's like, okay, I see you can't stand on that leg anymore, or you're not coming forward anymore. Then Pereira starts putting on his offense. Whereas Ankalaev, he's the kind of fighter that starts from the beginning going forward. You've seen all his fights, he goes forward from the moment. He doesn't try and size you up. He goes in and he starts specializing from the get-go. So it's a very much a lot of X's and O's in this fight, and I'm very excited to see it happen because I think the narrative is correct in saying that Magomed Ankalaev is probably going to be the biggest matchup for Alex Pereira in the UFC. And also, it's Magomed Ankalaev's only. I'm not mistaken here. This is his second attempt at the title shot. He fought Jan Blachowicz the first time, and then it was a draw. So,
Oh yeah.
so this is like almost like a renewed title attempt again. So, yeah, there's a lot riding on it for him. So I expect him to go out there and put on a performance.
there is a lot riding on it. And yeah, sorry, just one other thing that we have to talk about, which we were talking about before we went on air, is that they're making Ankalaev fight through Ramadan. So the man's not going to be eating the entire day. So just, why are you making this a factor in such a big fight? You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You guys, like you said, Ankalaev said he wanted the fight. And of course he wants the fight, but it's a championship fight. Because the last time they asked him to fight, they also asked him to fight the championship fight in Ramadan. Said
Yeah.
no. So I just don't know why they have to make this such a big factor. You know what I mean? Especially in such a big fight. But ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, let us know in the comments your thoughts on that, as well
Please.
as the fight in general. One more thing is just that Pereira is starting as a slight underdog, but this is basically a pick'em. So yeah, very interesting times ahead. We're gonna go to the next one, the fight above that, which is in the lightweight division, and here we see former BMF champion Justin Gaethje coming up against the returning Rafael Fiziev. And Justin Gaethje is 26 5-0, 20 wins by KO. Last time getting flatlined by Max Holloway in that BMF championship fight. He's coming up against the long anticipated return of Rafael Fiziev, who is 12-3-0, 8 wins by KO. Last time out, losing because of a broken leg against Mateus Gamrot. So, of course, Babu, this is your boy. You've been anticipating his comeback for a long time. So I'm gonna go to you first here, bro. Let us know your thoughts on this one, please, sir.
I think like this is a big matchup for Gaethje more than it is for Fiziev. I think after getting flatlined in that Max Holloway fight, like we need to see another good performance out of Justin Gaethje. We don't want to see him go down the Tony Ferguson route where you get flatlined, your next fight, you get beaten by somebody that shouldn't actually beat you, who shouldn't match your skills. And in that sense, like Gaethje, this fight has happened already. Gaethje got the victory, and it was in his wheelhouse to get the victory seamlessly in that last fight. This time out, I think Fiziev is going to be a much better fighter. A long time off, yielded up. A lot of people in the division have just left him and ducked him because they know it's a hard night at the office with him.
Yes.
I'm hoping to see him come back like a rejuvenated. I hope he worked on a bit of his skills, and he always had a good stand-up game, a killer leg kick. So just need to see if he got a bit of clinch work done in this off time, or maybe he got a bit of grappling done in this off time, and hopefully he did, and hopefully he's evolved and he gets the W and he KOs Gaethje one more time for the boys, and I can come back when we recap and say this is why everybody's been talking my boy, and he climbs up that rankings for us.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I'm also leaning towards Fiziev here, to be honest with you. I think he's got a lot more to fight before. And yeah, I think the first fight was very close, Maria, and I think that he's gonna make the adjustments needed to beat Gaethje here, and also recency bias is all of the drug. So seeing him get flatlined against Max like that is just it's difficult to get the picture out of my head, and the cumulative damage might be a factor. But BG, tell us your thoughts on this one, bro.
Yeah, look, I'm also very excited to see Rafael Fiziev back. People have been talking in Bobby, you're right. I personally question the thing about why he wasn't fighting because he had AC. It wasn't. Let me just correct you. That was my mistake for putting that in the notes. It wasn't a
It's
leg
an
break. It was a
ACL, right?
yeah,
I
yeah. I
thought
remember
so.
it came off a kick also. Um, yeah, having Rafael Fiziev back is firstly he's not Max Holloway. They don't fight exactly the same. I don't know if Fiziev can put a beating on someone for 5 rounds. It's not a 5 round fight, by the way, but I don't know if he can do it the same way Gaethje, the way Max Holloway beat Gaethje. I hear you saying about recency bias, but I'm gonna go with the Gaethje camp in this one. Not because I'm not a Rafael Fiziev fan. I am a Rafael Fiziev fan, but he carries way too much muscle and he's been out for 2 years. And for him not to fight, he had ACL recovery for 1 year. Then he was basically in the gym fighting for another, ready to go for another year, and didn't fight anyone for a full year. So that's 2 years without fighting anybody. That's very concerning for me because then it's like you can train as hard as you want, but at the end of the day, fighting when you're in the fight, it attacks your adrenaline and it attacks your stamina in a different way when you're fighting against someone in sparring. It's a different thing, man. Your body and muscles breathe differently when you're actually fighting someone versus training with somebody. And for Ziev, could outstrike anybody in the lightweight division, but he couldn't outstrike himself. He would always get tired when he goes into that third round. He would always just look very, very tired, no matter who he's fighting against. And I think he's one of the most muscle-bound fighters in the lightweight division. And I think that's why we always see him get so exhausted. And he throws heat, hard body kicks. His favorite weapon is a body kick, whether it's switch kick or it's just from his back leg. He loves the body kick, and that takes a lot of energy to throw that body kick every time. And he doesn't jab over and right, or jab right or right jab. He likes to throw hooks after the kick. So he's throwing the heaviest weapons that he has. That is going to tire you out, bro. And if he doesn't finish you with that moves in the first round and a half, you can bet that Fiziev is going to get tired in the end of round 2 and round 3. And that's exactly why Gaethje beat him. Gaethje was a bit more composed. He didn't throw as reckless as he normally does. And he actually was able to survive that first onslaught of Fiziev in that first round because Gaethje got beaten up in that first round. Let's be honest. Fiziev fucked him up in that first round. And then Gaethje just, okay, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to be easy. I'm going to jab this guy and just do the basics right. And Fiziev was just, every time he did get jabbed, you could see he was just getting more tired and more tired. And Gaethje was there. Plus, Gaethje also threw in hard leg kicks at him, which was also slowing down Fiziev quite massively. So let's not forget about who Gaethje is just because he got beaten up by someone who came up into his division. That is Max Holloway, by the way. That is royalty in the UFC that he fought against. So we also have to look at the context. So for that reason, you said there's more to fight for Fiziev. Fiziev 31. I think he can still go for a run even if he loses this fight. Whereas Gaethje is 36. He can't lose this fight. So there is a lot for him to ride on as well. This is his run. This is his final opportunity. he has no other choice but to win this fight from here. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the highlight reel Justin Gaethje to get the job done over the course of 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think you make some good points there, BG. Nicely done. But yeah, I do feel like again the younger fighter, and just I think the cumulative damage over Gaethje's career is going to start to tell, and I don't think he's going to be able to withstand that same kind of damage if it does come like it did in the first fight. But it's going to be an interesting one, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments your thoughts on that one. Babu, any final thoughts on this one before we move? Yeah.
I think this fight also, like, yeah, I think if Fiziev and Ankalaev lose, I think there's gonna be like a chit chat in the background. Because Fiziev is also fasting. He's also
Yeah.
Muslim.
Mm.
So if both fighters lose during Ramadan, I think both
Mm.
fighters can come out to the media and say like, "Hey, look here, UFC made us fight this time," and that could be like a narrative that's taken on. And I think one of them has to win because we don't want it to seem like, oh, these fighters are fighting during a time where they should be fasting, and it seems like they have no other choice. I think
Yeah.
Fiziev had the choice here to step into this fight because Hooker was
Yeah.
the. So
Original.
I think like he needs to win this so that we can see a nice escalation to him. And
Yeah.
then like BG said, if Gaethje doesn't get the job done here, now we are find him in the GFL soon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real. I agree with you, Babu. I think that could be the end of it if he loses this fight.
Let's go.
I have a question for Babu, okay, quickly, AD, and for all the Muslim brothers and sisters out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you allowed to have water and maybe dates if you are competing, especially sports athletes? So I remember growing up
So
with a lot of Muslim friends, and when they would play rugby and cricket, on the day of performance they were allowed to break fast, but training up to the event they were fasting as per normal.
I know, so like somebody else that is more knowledgeable than me can correct me in the comments. But as per my understanding, if your job requires you to eat or to maintain a certain level of performance, you can
Yeah,
do so. Like
yeah.
you must just like pay in the day again.
Yes, that's what
But
I understand. Yeah,
yeah, but that's as per your profession. So both fighters can go about like eating as per normal and stuff like that on the day of the fight.
on the day.
But
Yeah.
leading into the fight,
Yeah.
you're still gonna feel drained and everything.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
um, like it, uh, there is ways to negate it, like we saw with Bilal Muhammad, and it's not
Yeah.
really negating it in a way where like you're gonna feel 100% normal, but you will feel like 80%, 90% because you can get evening sessions in. You can
Okay.
still
Okay.
carb load your body and get all the sessions that you need, and
Okay.
go about your business as per normal and get the training in. And
Hmm.
I think one thing that Bilal Muhammad did a lot when he was in training camp is a lot of tape work. Like instead of being
Oh.
like instead of being on the gym mat and stuff like that, because we like you in the UFC, so you have the skills necessary to compete in the UFC. So it's just about, like John Jones says, it's tape work. Study
Mm,
your opponent, study their mannerisms, study how they
mm.
move, study their reads, so that when you get in there, you don't have to go 5 rounds or 3 rounds. You can get the
Okay.
job done at the optimal level. And
Okay.
yeah, I think like it shouldn't be an excuse, but I
Mm.
can see a world where it does become something
Absolutely.
that is in the media.
Yeah, I can see it as well. But that's why I just wanted to ask the question, clarify that, because that could be a counter argument towards it. End of the day, the fact is making the choice as well, along with their camp and their training part, their coaches and staff and so on, and managers. They don't have to take it. I think Uncle Life is like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it's like, bruh, how can you not take a title fight, bro? And as
that's
for
what I'm
Ziyech
saying.
sitting out after 2 years, they're giving you
That's what I'm
Justin
saying.
Gaethje, bro. How can you
It's a
not
big
take it?
opportunity. That's
You
what I'm
know
trying
what
to
I
say. It's
mean?
like you don't have to because of what Babu was just described now. It's in Ramadan, but at the same point, it's like these opportunities don't come often.
Yeah.
Fiziev is number 11. Magomed Ankalaev probably only has this title shot as well, being at 32 years old. Considering that the top five of light heavyweight division is moving quite frequently, so anyone can challenge anybody at that point. So
Mm.
when the opportunity does come, you have to take it.
Yeah, yeah, you really do. But yeah, just to your point there, Babu, I know you said like you can train and you can be like 80, 90%, but bruh, that could be the difference when you're competing at the highest level, bruh. Is that
Yeah,
20% that you're missing, you know what I mean? This is the
yeah,
highest level, bruh. This is a title fight. So you need every possible advantage you can get. And again, I just don't understand why the UFC is doing this. But
yeah.
anyway, there's a lot obvious maybe there's a lot going on that we don't know about.
I'm sure.
But we can only speculate. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, drop us a comment there. Let us know your thoughts. But boys, we do have some other fights to get to, and we're gonna go to the
Sure.
lightweight division now. Here we see Jalen Turner coming up against Ignacio Bahamondes. Jalen Turner is 14-8-0, 10 wins by KO, 4 by sub, so that's quite a hell of a finishing right there. Last time losing to Money Moicano by KO. And he's coming up against Ignacio Bahamondes, who is 16-5-0, 11 by KO, 1 by sub last time out, beating Manuel Torres by KO. So, BG, how's this
Mhm.
one going to play out, bro?
Yo, guys, this I can see someone getting stopped in this fight. Definitely, probably going to be one of those fight of the night performances from either one of these gentlemen because Valentina never puts on a boring performance. He's always going in there whether he's getting finished or finishing people. He makes the fight exciting. He's a go-getter. Starts too fast for my liking. I want him to be a little bit more composed when it comes to that kind of part of his game. 29 years old, so he's still very fresh, very tall for lightweight division. So he makes for a puzzle for any sort of opponent. Ignacio Bahamondes, on the other hand, doesn't shy away from any sort of matchup. And if you watch that fight against Manuel Torres, who's also a very good striker, that was in UFC Noche. Bahamondes put on a masterclass in that night. And if you watch fights before that, Bahamondes is that kind of athlete. He's a go-getter, loves to strike, very creative, got good spinning attacks, but he's not as composed. And for that reason, that's why I think these guys are going to go in and just gonna car crash. And whoever basically lands first, I do believe that Bahamondes is a little bit more skillful. Jalen heavily relies on that length of his. We watch most of his fights. He relies on length rather than sort of tapping opponents into positions where he can piece them up and survive for 3 rounds at least. Damn it, I want at least one fight for Jalen to go to the distance, please, so we can see you level up. I want to see that happen, and I think this fight can be a good opportunity for him to do that because Bahamondes because he spins so much and he throws heavy wild techniques, he can get tired. And all that takes from Turner is just to be calm in those kind of moments. Just relax, be a little bit more gentle, and you can actually you can actually beat him because then you will get tired, and then you can actually put on more flashy attacks for yourself. But I mean, that being said, Jalen Turner never really does that, and that's why he either gets finished or he's the one that's doing the finishing. So yeah, I think for this fight, whoever's the one that's going to be more composed is going to be the one that wins, just because they got very similar styles. I think Bahamondes is going to struggle in the beginning with that distance and that length of Jalen Turner, because most fighters do. Uh, I haven't actually seen a fight where Jalen Turner's lost the first round. If we've been honest, a lot of guys struggle against Jalen Turner in that first round. So for Bahamondes, he's going to have to be composed, be calm, for Jalen Turner in round one. He's going to come at you with a lot of fire, but then he's going to get tired, and that's where Bahamondes can go and put these combinations on him. So it's going to be a bit of a tit for that kind of fight. But it's going to make for exciting fight, and tell you that much. Not much can happen for these guys. They both of them are if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Turner is only ranked 13th. So for Bahamondes, for him, it's a top rank. It's an opportunity to get into that rank. Hey, my mic went off. For Jalen Turner, he's he can't lose this fight because he's fighting an unranked opponent. So he's going to have to obviously get the job done. And he can't afford to go down another loss because it'll be back-to-back losses. So there's a lot riding on for both these athletes, and I can't wait for it because it's gonna make for an exciting war.
Definitely, BG. So any pick for the boys there, BG? Sorry, did you give your pick? Did I miss it?
No, I didn't give my pick. I want to sort of just build up the fights in the previews and then kind of give a pick for the parlay episodes. But if you want me to give a pick right now, I'm gonna go with Bahamondes. I think he's more skillful. I think he's got a little bit more to give. He's got more talent than Jalen Turner. It's just a matter of is he going to be able to survive that first round. And if he does, I think he wins the fight.
Give thanks, BG. Babu.
Uh, I tend to agree with BG sum up. I think the way I look at it is, Jalen Turner is a incredible talent, but he just doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have that one thing that separates you from like good to great. And It's not even. It could be skill wise. It could be like. I don't even think it's skill wise because he submits people, he KOs people, and like he has it. I think maybe it's just like a patience thing, like a young Justin Gaethje, like just don't have the patience, don't know when to pick their shots, don't know how to really have that fight IQ of how to navigate the fight. And then from the highlights I've seen of Ignacio, he looks like a world beater, but he's fought nobody that like I know the name of. So anybody can look like a world beater then. But I think he's just a good fighter so far. I think this is the test for him. Jalen Turner is the name that people know, and if you can get through Jalen Turner the same way he's been getting through people, then he could be on a quick rise because he's been getting the KOs frequently. It's just I don't know if Jalen Turner is gonna make it through here. I just can't see it. But this is my pick for fight of the night, though.
Yeah,
There we
agreed
go.
there.
There we go. Yo, I don't know, because we still got King Green and
Mauricio
Ruffy. But
Ruffy.
anyway, we'll get to that. Just for interest sake here, Jalen Turner is starting as a slight underdog. And probably should have mentioned also that Fiziev is the favorite in the previous fight. Quite big
Yo, is that
discrepancy
real?
there.
Is that real
That
numbers?
is real, bruh. Those are real numbers.
What is going on, bro? Oh my word!
Actual numbers, bruh. But
Oh
anyway, Jalen
shit!
Turner, as you can see for this one, is double your money, just over. So BG, final thoughts to you on this one,
Mhm.
and then we'll keep it moving, please.
Another thing to add to Bahamondes, he's fought 7 times in the UFC. He's won 6 of that 7, and he's got a lot of finishes to that. And only a couple decisions here and there, but the man's a go-getter, and he goes in there to put on performances. He loves putting on a fight for the fans. So does Jalen Turner. So I think, yeah, I think it's gonna be like I say, what's gonna be fight of the night for sure. I want to reserve my opinions for the numbers on the screen for when we do our parlay episode because that is shocking stuff. But yo, I can't wait for this particular matchup. I really can't.
Give thanks, PG. And in that case, we will keep it moving. And we're going to go to a women's strawweight bout here. And here we see Amanda Lemos coming up against Yasman Lucindo. Amanda Lemos is 14-4-1, 8 wins by KO, 3 by sub. Last time out, losing to Jandai Roba by sub.
Mhm.
She's coming up against Yasman Lucindo, who is 17-5-0, 8 by KO, 3 by sub. Last time out, beat Marina Rodriguez by unanimous decision. So yeah, I'm really not too sure what the stakes are like for this one. In terms of the strawweight division.
Mhm.
So BG, can you just give us some context here as to why this fight is happening and
Sure, sure. So this
how
is
you think it's going to
basically
play out? Yeah.
in the strawweight division. This fight is pretty much for that title conversation. I don't think the winner of the fight is going to get a title shot, to be honest with you, but I do think they put themselves right in that queue behind the next title fight. Definitely because Amanda Lemos is number 5, former title challenger, and Yasmin Lucindo has come into the UFC with a lot of fucking hype. A lot of hype. Only 23 years old, knockout specialist. She's a very good fighter. She's ranked number 7, so you can obviously tell by that is that the winner here is definitely going to go up the rankings into that top 5. I think Lucindo, who's basically one fight away of being considered in the top 5 of that strawweight division, where we have Valentina Shevchenko as the champion. So Amanda Lemos, I don't think the fight's going to play out. I like Amanda Lemos, right? But I do think that she's starting to decline now, and especially after losing that title shot. I think she's heavily on the not Amanda Lemos, not Valentina Shevchenko. This is Wei Li. She's the
Sam
champion of this
Lee.
division. Yeah, she's the champion of this division. After she lost to Wei Li, she declined. Lemos has been declining since then. I've noticed it. She's been getting tired. She relies a lot on the power punching, but then once she gets grappled, she doesn't. She hates that stuff. And she gets tired after grappling. Literally after maybe 1 or 2 rounds. Lucindo is not going to grapple with her. We know that. Lucindo is going to go in there and she's going to want to strike with her, which is going to work in Lemos's favor. Lemos is a very, very good counter striker, and she can step back and throw a hook at the brilliant pace. It's one of her best moves that she does really well. But Lucindo is an all-around kind of striker. She's very good at going forward and fighting with the back foot. She's a very, very high-paced kind of fighter, a lot of volume, but packs a lot of power in that volume as well. So it's very unique to see that in an athlete. And that she's a very exciting prospect for the strawweight division. So I think I can give Lucinda the win here over the course of 3 rounds. I don't know if she's going to stop Lemos. Lemos can stop her, but Lucinda is also extremely durable. I think the younger fighter is going to have the gas tank to go over the 5 rounds and win by decision quite convincingly as well. I think Lucinda loses the first round, but she wins round 2 and 3 quite convincingly just by piecing Lemos up, by having more output just by every time Amanda Lemos throws one strike, Lucinda's going to throw 4. And we're going to see that pattern happen throughout the fight more frequently. Lucinda's going to have to watch that leg kicks of Lemos. Lemos likes to throw hard leg kicks to start up her combinations. If she can watch that leg kicks, I think she survives the fight really well and gets her offense going. So I think Lucindo for sure, 3-round decision, just with dynamic of strikes, more overwhelming pressure, volume of strikes is going to be higher, and she's going to win the fight in the eye of the judges.
Fair play, BG. And just to let everyone know that Lucindo is starting as the slight favorite in this one.
There you go.
But for further comment here, Babu, what are your thoughts on this one, sir?
I agree with BG. I like Lucinda. She looks like a real prospect. A lot of media outlets put a lot of hype on her. Like she's up there and should be like in the top 5 of the rankings. Because they can't see a world where she gives Zhang Weili a good fight. I do think that was prior to Zhang's last performance, because Zhang's last performance just showed everybody like it's gonna be a while. But I think Lucinda is the fighter to pick in this one. I just think Lemos is like on the decline. Like I think she's had her best days. I think she had a title shot. She got beat, and in the last time out, Honourable got the best of her again. So
Yeah.
I think like she just locked up a bit of power and a bit of poise in like how she throws her punches. So I think it's gonna be I don't think a decision. I think like a second round, Lucinda gets out.
What?
Oh,
Woo!
yes, statement made.
Massive. I don't know if. Yo, Babu, I
We'll
said
see.
to put the money down on that.
There we go. My boy needs some nappies, bro.
That is tomorrow's episode, no voice.
Yeah, let's save that for tomorrow, and of course keep a look after that one, ladies and gentlemen. But let us know in the comments your thoughts on this one, who gets it done and how. But boys, we're gonna go to the feature bout now. Oh, sorry, the opening bout of the main card. Here we see Bobby King Green, or King Green as he's going by now, coming up against Mauricio Ruffy. King Green is 32, 16, and 1. In his last fight, he lost to Barry Bimblich by submission in the first round. Coming up against Mauricio Ruffy, 11, 1 and 0, 6 fight streak, 10 by KO. And very surprisingly, didn't finish Lontop in his last fight, but he did win by unanimous decision. Lontop was just super tough, super durable, bro. So, yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I'll just double check it now. But Ruffy is understandably the big favorite coming into this fight. I think actually, yeah, King Green is the biggest dog on the card, on the main card. So, is that a fair line? Do you think? I'll go to BG.
I can see it. I can see it. Considering if you look at the win streak that Ruffy's on and how he's been getting the job done, the style, the athlete, fighting out to the fighting nerds, everything's pointing in that direction for him to be the overwhelming favorite. King Green's been on a downward slump, 37 years old, lost to Paddy Pimblett in the previous fight by a sub, by the way. His career has sort of been here and there. You know what He's competed against top names, but that was literally like lifetime ago. So it was like we can't keep going on the man's history to hype him up as a fighter now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've never been a fan of King Green, to be honest with you. I never thought he was anything. I always thought he was just that name that was there, and he puts on
his character wins in fights rather than his fights winning in fights. To be honest with you, people are in love with the character more than what he actually does in the octagon. So yeah, and when it comes up, whenever he comes up against someone that's either a rising star or someone that is in the upper echelon of the divisions, he loses, right? Mauricio Rufi's on the come up and he's coming up really fast. I put him in the same pedigree as the Myron Santoses and those kind of fighters. Like, they're just these Brazilian athletes right now are coming into UFC and they're reclaiming what was the Black Zillions era. You know, coming in there and just smoking everybody. They're redoing that again with the fight in its team, and I can understand why. So to be honest with you, AD, I think those numbers make a little bit of sense to me. Not like the Gaethje one, but this one I can see why King Green is the underdog and such a massive dog as well. Because Mauricio is a finisher, right? He's a guy who goes in there and he's got such a high finishing rate. He just puts people away all the time. Lontop was one of the guys who didn't go away, but Lontop is also an athlete that I consider to be quite interesting. We also have to remember contextually that fight against Lontop was catch weight, and Lontop came in that fight heavily overweight. Like, he was a welterweight coming into that, or middleweight coming into that fight, and Rufi competes in lightweight, and he only made welterweight weight for that catchweight fight. So he competed against someone that was two weights above him. So I can understand why his punches didn't actually put Lontop away. If there was anybody else that would have probably been dropped, would have been finished. King Green is significantly smaller, even though the height shows on the website that they're only 1 inch apart, but I don't think it's only 1 inch apart. I think it's a lot bigger than that. I think Rufi is going to be too much for him, and get the stoppage. I think he's going to knock King Green out for sure.
Which round?
Um, Round two, he's going to struggle to find King Green in the first round. King Green's going to evade him quite well in that first round, but then he's going to catch him in that second.
Fair comment, PG. Yeah, look, it's very difficult to talk when the numbers are this wide, and understandably so, like you said. Babu, any chance you see here for our boy King Green?
Not at all, brother. I'm not. I'm not.
Babu's been high on Rufi, bruh.
I'm not a big Perry Pumlet fan. I do respect the game. I do respect the ground game that he does have. But when he fought King Green, I didn't expect him to lock us a submission that quickly. And like Mauricio Rufi is a way better fighter than Paddy Pumlet. So if you can't even be in there around with Paddy Pumlet, I don't see you making it to the second with Mauricio Rufi. And unless the only way he makes it to the second is if, like BJ said, he keeps evading. And by evading, I just mean like keep running around that octagon. It's, if you get into striking range, that man's gonna KO you.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between Landtop and King Green is King Green don't have that same chin, bro. Like the shots that Rufi lands, it's bombs, bro. And he's gonna land a bomb. It's gonna be over. That's gonna be a quick fight. That man's gonna get a young 50k there for knockout of the night. And
I see it.
Yeah,
we're
he's
gonna
gonna end.
stick to
He's gonna
the
end.
pay-per-view.
He's gonna end King Green's career come this weekend. We're gonna see
He
him hang his
might.
gloves up.
It's very possible, yeah. He's not even going to be able to hang the gloves up, right? He's going to be out cold. They're going to take his gloves off him in the ring.
Stretch that man, bro.
They're gonna
Stretch
stretch him out of there. I
Stretch
can
him
see
out
it
and
happening.
leave his gloves behind. Yeah, because again, Bobby Green is just that kind of fighter, man. He's gonna fair play to him over there. He's gonna try and make it a spectacle. He's gonna stand in the pocket and he's gonna trade. He's gonna talk shit, and
Yeah.
that's probably gonna be what contributes to partly to his downfall, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, PG, any final thoughts on this one before we move?
Yeah, I think Rufi is a real prospect for the lightweight division, guys. I think he's gonna be a name that we're gonna be talking about frequently for years to come. He's an absolute killer. He's a stud, and I like watching him fight. Babu, thank you for putting us on this man, for mentioning his name a few cards back last year. So yeah, excited to see this fight.
Give thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this one. Is there any chance at all for the biggest dog on the card, Bobby Green? But we're gonna go to some honorable mentions now, boys. So BJ, I'll go to you first. Anything that you would like to talk about here?
Excuse me. So
It's probably not big enough now.
I think that's fine. That's fine on screen. Curtis Blades fighting against Rizvan Kuniev. I'm not familiar with Kunif. I think he's coming from a Dynamite Contender Series. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Please let us know about that. But Curtis Blades taking this fight is absolutely insane. Ranked number 5. He didn't have to take this fight. Seems to me like he just wants to stay active. Maybe go up for another title contention. I don't know if he's going to be a champion as long as Tom Aspinall's in the division. But it's always nice to watch Curtis Blades fight. So I think he's going to get the job done there. Then the fight below that, I think he's going to beat it. And I'm not going to go into X's and O's about it, but I think Joshua Van always puts on a very good fight. This is a flyweight bout. It's the fight just before Curtis Blades' fight, and he's taking on Ray Tsuruya, who is a phenomenal grappler. And I think that's going to be a very much of a barn burner kind of fight. So I'm excited for that one. But the fight I'm most excited to watch is if you go down all the way to the early prelims, 80, we do have my boy Myron Santos, who just won the Ultimate Fighter, knocking out Khan Offley, viciously knocking him out, which we all kind of called. Been following Myron Santos throughout the Ultimate Fighter, became a fan instantly, love his style, and I think he's going to be a tough contender for the featherweight division. I do believe he's going to beat Francis Marshall, just because who the fuck is Francis Marshall? I think Santos is going to knock him out in the first round as well. And then lastly, Chris Gutierrez. Remember the name Chris Gutierrez. He was a contender as well in the featherweight division. Beautiful leg kicks. Loved watching him throw on low kicks to people. Loves attacking the calf. And I think he's probably going to get a knockout in this fight as wow. And then lastly, AD, if we can scroll up to the preliminaries, I think it's going to be a fantastic fight to watch. Is Bruno Ferreira taking on Arman Petrosian. That's going to be a stand-up war. And I think Bruno Ferreira is going to get the knockout in that fight as well. So, yeah, looking forward to some of the prelims as well. It's going to be a massive card.
Whoa. What's up, guys? Babu, anything you want to touch on here, sir?
Just shout out to the Myanmar people there in Joshua Van. They always put on bangers, as we know. Like I'm excited about that fight, as well as that Arman Petrosian fight. I think Arman's a low-key dog in that whole division. I think like he just needs to get like a couple of things sorted, and then he can be in the top 15 because he does have the skills. And then, like BG said, Chris Gutierrez, who owns a victory over Jose Aldo, who is royalty. So you must be a good fighter if you're getting the job done there. I think Chris Gutierrez is one to watch. And I always shout out my boy Ozzy TS coming back. I'm not gonna place any wagers on that man again. But
do it. Let's go, Ozzy. Redemption time.
We get the job done, bro.
All right, boys. So just before you wrap up, I'm just gonna go to some final thoughts and also a pre-fight rating for the card. Babu, since we are on you, can you give us that information, please, sir?
Pre-fight, I think all the fights, if they live up to expectation and they go the way the matchmakers seem to put them, I think main card, I think the whole card should get a score of like 7 to 8. With like 2 spoken about knockouts at least. I think the Ignacio fight should land a spectacular knockout, as well as the Gaethje Fiziev fight should be something that we should see a highlight from. In terms of final thoughts, I just hope Pereira gets the job done. Just get the job done. Because like if he wins this fight, he has the choice of DDP or Tom Aspinall. We could see a super fight either way he goes. Because I know he's not gonna fight somebody else again in that lightweight division. Like that light heavyweight division. He's like, I'm done. You guys are bums. Get on my level. So if he gets through this, we're in for super cards, boys. We're in for super cards.
Super fights,
Does make it exciting. PG.
Yeah, I'm with Babu as well. Pre-card rating, I'm also gonna go with between a 7 and an 8. Might even go a bit higher because I think there are quite a few matchups on the card that could lead to knockouts and finishes. I mean, Babu, you mentioned 2, right? But I can call off the main event, the co-main event, the featured bout before the co-main event, the opening bout of the fight card. That's all finishes. That could all highly end in finishes. Don't even get me started with the prelims and the early prelims. So I think the card.
I just don't want to guess myself.
Yes,
don't
me
know.
too. Me too. But I'm saying, based on the matchups on paper, it's supposed to be nothing less than 8. But I'll hold it for when the fight card is finished. And then my final thoughts on the events. Yeah, just excited for the matchups for all of it because they all have quite heavy implications for their respective divisions. So a lot of weight to all these fights, and that should make for exciting matchups come this weekend. And also looking forward to doing the live with the boys.
That is correct. We are doing lives this weekend. And no, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't heard incorrectly. That is live, starting with One Championship, One Friday, Fights 98.
No,
That
no,
is?
no, no,
What
no,
is it?
no. It's Saturday morning. We're going to be
Saturday
going live
morning, yeah.
for Fight Night
So
29.
Saturday morning, One Fight Night 29, and Sunday morning, UFC 313. So come say hi. And hopefully you have made it this far in the video. And if you have, please like, subscribe, share the video, and tell them Fighting with Friends sent you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic week from myself, BGBB, Jedi Knight, all of us here at Fighting with Friends. See you later.